Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Randall George Nozawa. I am the Bounce Back Blind Guy, and welcome to New and Light Lifestyle Medicine. Special day today because this is our last telecast for this season until next season. And special because one, I get to work again with my friend and co-host Patrick Herbert. Hello, Patrick. A special guy because journalist and researcher and software engineer. Okay, so I get to use all his valuable information and co-opt it and call it mine. So I kind of borrow stuff, right? But
you can take it all. Go ahead.
Such a wonderful guy, and how I met him, by accident, was reading one of the published articles called Bankruptcy of America, and I go, yeah, that's nice, great writing, of course, But at the end of that, he goes, I went through an enlightenment. I go, well, what the hell is that? I need to meet this guy. Okay, and then so we talk about all these things, and here's a guy, dedicated to unconditional love. And I go, wow, really? I want to know more. And then so we became friends. He was a guest on my radio show, and now we host this growing show. And thank you for everyone that's subscribing, because it's growing. And I thank you for that, because we report truth and really how our world needs to go. And I believe that we can do way better job in unity and harmony, and making all diversity, all our differences, just something that joins us together. And I believe that this fake virus thing going on here is just doing that, because everyone's figuring out now that one, it's fake. The other is that we all have this goodness inside of us, and if we just united together, and not in fear, but in love, joy, peace, harmony, and abundance, we can do a much better job in living. But that's in unity. Okay. We have a wonderful guest today, and I met her through LinkedIn, and I meet a lot of folks through LinkedIn, right? But this was a very she had a very special type of background and how she presented herself. And she is also blind, and like me, she doesn't have any eyeballs. So we're actually blind. Not partially blind or sort of blind or kind of blind. We are. We are blind. And she has her company, Lumen Your Way, and she'll explain more about that later. But she is one where her vision started not to be so good growing up. And as a young child, your vision is already getting kind of blurred, and you're just going through life like that. But with the biggest sense organ, when that starts to go, life changes. Okay, and hers did. And instead of going the other way and being negative, down and out, I'm the victim, woe is me kind of stuff, she became proficient at business. She decided to believe in herself. She decided to, put love first, self-love first, and contribute to the world. And now she's got her own company now, and doing a lot of great things, for blind people and for others. And just an honor to have her on the show today. And and she's recently moved to sunny San Diego. So and she's going to be working on her tan now, because I think she was a Midwest gal for a lot of years, and and now she's going to be working on her tan, which is a good thing. And she's going to be outside at the beach without a mask. I'm guessing. I'm hoping, but I would know, right? But I'll just go with what she tells me. But a very, very special guest here today, and on this show, we introduce, just the topics that are relevant to us, and we report truth, and that's why her presence here is so valuable And like I said, a great way to top off a good season, a good first season. So this is Teresa Gregg, and we just welcome her, and so glad that she's on. Teresa, hello, and thanks for being on the show. And you're, well, you're a California girl now, so just like the song goes, so I'm so glad you're here. Let's start off with tell the audience a little bit about your early years growing up. What you did, and how, and about your vision, and how that started to diminish over time, and what happened to your life. So start with that.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me on the show. It's an honor, Dr. Randall. I was born with congenital glaucoma and uveitis. I was adopted at the age of 6 with my biological brother due to some neglect and abuse in the household. And I lost quite a bit of vision during that time because the proper eye drops weren't given to me that should have been given to me. So growing up, I had enough vision where I could read in large print, or back then we had our books on cassette tape. I used the bold line paper, CCTV, magnifying glass. I looked like Inspector Gadget everywhere I went because I had my magnifying glass. I had enough vision to know what colors and people look like. I rode a bike, probably should not have, but I rode a bike, didn't break. Nope, I take that back. I broke my arm in the 4th grade. We were playing cops and robbers in the cul-de-sac where we lived. And of course I was the robber. I was a bad guy speeding off on my banana seat bike, and I didn't see the curve, and I hit it and fell over and broke my arm and cut my chin. So I had all those fun experiences growing up. In my early 20s, I started to lose a lot more vision. So I had my right eye taken out. It was serving me no purpose. And then about 7 years ago, I had to have my other eye taken out just due to the pain of it. So I've had fun having 2 prosthetic eyes. I have the option of changing my eye color every 5 years. So I'm on my 3rd eye color. I was born with brown eyes. The eyes I have now are green. My daughter says it reminds her of camouflage. She calls them my camo eyes. So I try to have fun with what I have and what I do. I have 2 grown adult children and 4 grandkids. I reinvented myself in my early 40s and decided to start my own business as a life coach. And here I am today.
No, that is so incredible. Well, that's why I wanted you on the show. Because you had to grow up with this, and then my blindness was through traumas and all that. So I go to blind school, and I go, okay, I've got to learn all these skills. I got to learn how to be a blind person, and I go there, and on the first day, I'm thinking everyone's blind, right? They go, hey, Randall, how you doing? It's my shirt. I go, wait a minute, you guys can see? Oh, okay, I thought you guys were blind. And well, I guess, I didn't know there were levels of blindness and all that, and what's legally blind and all that. And, as the weeks went on, the training, they go, hey, get your haircut. I go, you guys are supposed to be blind. You can't see. Come on.
Unfair advantage.
I just thought, this is just weird, But Teresa, when you were growing up, and then, you're mentioning all those different things that made you different from the other kids, because of the large print or the CCTVs and all that, and all the things that are different. What went through your head, knowing that the other kids knew that something was up with you? And then, because, when you're a child, and sometimes, children, well, not sometimes, children can be, very ugly because they're real honest. What went through your head, knowing that you're different from the other kids?
Honestly, Dr. Randall, I don't think it ever really went through my head. I mean, I knew I was different, but I was very much, I guess you would call it a nerd, an academic. I did extremely well in school. I joined, the drama club. I started a club in high school for other disabled students where we went around to different classrooms and talked about who we were and why we did what we did and how we did it. I've always been a leader and a mentor, so it really never bothered me. I always tried to find a solution around it and problem solve. I mean, I was stuck. I am stuck with my blindness. I can't change it. And I didn't want to sit around and be depressed and be bullied. So I made sure I was active in doing things. And I guess on the plus side, since I couldn't see very well, if I had someone giving me an odd look or looking at me weird, it didn't bother me because I couldn't see it. So I tried to make the best of what I had.
Well, you have, because based on how you led your life, and it was the attitude and that vision you had in your head of how you wanted to live, and that's why I wanted you on the show, because you're such a leader in life, because you could have gone the other way, because
Yeah.
if you didn't like this thing of not being normal, then you can buffer it and kind of pillow it with taking a lot of drugs, or becoming a very negative person, or blaming the world, blaming God for why did this happen to me, why did and stuff like that. But you didn't do that, and because of that, you forged this life you have, and you've got like you said, these wonderful children, and I didn't know you had grandchildren, so hey, grandma, yeah, congratulations, and, and
Yes.
and now you got this neat new guy in your life, and darn, those dating services actually work, so I'm glad about that, and here you are. But you tell us about okay, your the vision is going and all that, and from your late teens to early 20s and all that, you got into actually business way back when. What drew you to that, and where did your interest take you?
Being a mom was my most important role. It still is. I knew at a very young age I wanted to be a mom. I worked for an assistive technology company for a while, doing some of their marketing and writing and educating. I worked for a nonprofit for many years where we helped blind kids throughout the state of Nebraska. By law, the schools provide that assistive technology in the school, but not at home. So we tried to get that technology in the students' homes so they could continue their learning at home. And then after I had my second eye taken out, looking back on it now, I fell into pretty bad depression. I didn't have much sight to lose, but it was definitely all gone. And that was just another physical piece of my body that was missing. So after that, those 2 years, um, I wanted to do something for myself. I'm super big into personal development, so becoming a life coach seemed the right path to take. I've always been a leader and a mentor and a guider and a teacher, so it just kind of all fell into place. And I started my own company. It's Luminate Your Way. Luminate in Latin means light, so light your way. I specifically chose that because physically I live in the dark, but I don't see myself spiritually or mentally or any other capacity as living in the dark. So my goal is to help enlighten other people to have that purpose driven lifestyle that they want to have.
And thank you. And then you just taught me a Latin word, so now I'm a Latin word smarter. So thank you for that. Oh, that guy knows Latin. Yeah, I do. And I kind of borrowed that word from Teresa. So
There you
so
go.
in Luminate Your Way, what do you do? How do you take someone? And then I'm guessing you might be working with more blind people there. How do you work with them?
So, in the blindness community, I mainly work with families that have children with a visual impairment. So, I'll go in and I'll sit in on their IEPs, I'll make recommendations, I'll follow them through the school year to make sure that things are on track, they have the technology, the independent living skills they need. I also work a lot with the teachers from the blind schools throughout the United States in workshops. Right now, I'm working with the Iowa Braille School, and we are developing a human growth and sexual education kit that the teachers and families can check out to teach in those subjects. So we've had a lot of fun doing that. I'm super big into healing energy, so I do a lot of chakra coaching also, blind or sighted. You have 7 chakra energy points throughout your body, so we go over what causes those energy blocks and how to unblock them. Um, I've started a new program called the Thought Leader Path, where I will be working with business entrepreneurs starting their own business, and I'll just be guiding them to help them tell their own story and pay it forward in the world in that aspect. So I do quite a bit of different things. I like variety. I like working with a variety of people. Um, I like it when I work with someone and they don't know that I'm blind right away. You really have to read. I mean, if you read my bio on my website, you'll know that I'm blind. But other than that, I don't have that written anywhere else because for me and my coaching business, it's all about the client. It's all client driven. It's not about me and my story anymore.
Okay. Well, no, how wonderful. Now, what is the it's new to you right now, but what is the transition like from you're in the Midwest and now you're on the West Coast? What has done for you? I mean, personally and for your business, what has been the change there?
I'm in a more quiet atmosphere. I'm not living with my daughter and my 3 grandkids, so I actually get more done in my business just because it's more quiet. I love the weather out here. It's been a good change for me and my children all the way around.
Oh, that is wonderful.
I just had a quick question because I went through a pretty hardcore spiritual awakening. It was one that I wasn't seeking. It was something that happened to me, and come to find out all sorts of things that they're going through, a bunch of supernatural experiences. You had mentioned energy blockages in the chakra system, and one of the things I had come to learn is that there are electromagnetic parasites that prey on chakra blockages and the energy link that happens in association with them. And I was wondering if you did any work in relation to the electromagnetic parasites. I mean, some have called them archons. There's been all sorts of different words to describe them. Anything of that nature? Or uh-oh, did we lose the connection? I think we might have. Oh wait, no, there she is.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear that part?
No, I heard you. I heard Patrick saying something about having an awakening, and then I didn't hear anything after
Okay.
that.
What I was saying was, I went through a supernatural spiritual awakening, and it was something that it was an event that was triggered within me. It wasn't anything I was searching for at the time. So
Yeah.
I had full blown DNA activation, and I had all the experiences associated with that. I had learned a lot about what we call, or what could be called in these circles, and I'm sure you're aware of this, is interference by negative forces, electromagnetic parasites that prey on chakras that have been closed down and leaking energy. Some terms to describe them are archons. There's been other. I'm sure I don't know if you're familiar with the work of Robert Monroe, the famous out of body that started the Monroe Institute in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And he had even talked about. He said that what he gave the term loosh to describe the energy that is leaked per the blocking of a chakra, and then this energy that is leaked, this loosh, is siphoned off by these electromagnetic parasites or other types of energetic beings that are preying on us. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I this is great for me because I get a lot of attacks by these entities because of the work I'm engaged in, which is a part of exposing this part of life that is completely unseen. And I was curious if that is a part of some of the work that you do, and dealing with negative forces and electromagnetic parasites and such?
I talk about it. I don't go into that much depth. From my chakra coaching, I go back to what happened in their childhood or early years to even get those chakras blocked to begin with. Because each chakra level has an imprint, there's a verb associated with it, there's an energy behind it. So say your second chakra is your sacral, and that's your creative and sensual side. And this happens a lot with totally blind children, as they're not given that opportunity to explore their environment, and the environment is not set up so that they have a safe place to be creative and feel sensual and have that. The element is water, so it's a very flowing feeling. So if that's blocked right in infancy, I think you have to go back to that stage and figure out why it was, and do some of that ancestral healing, generational healing. And then you can tackle more difficult things like what you do and what you're into.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, so it's just an incredibly fascinating subject for me.
It is. Healing energy is fascinating.
And it's all true. And it's what's so difficult about it is convincing people that it's true. At least that's some of the things I've had to run into, because we have the allopathic approach to medication or medicine and healing, which is, of course, the Rockefeller Carnegie, and Dr. Randall and I give a lot of talks about that version of medicine versus natural foods, energy work, and all that kind of stuff that you're engaged in. So it's
absolutely. We had a conversation the other day that they're saying your stomach is now your second brain. In fact, they're diagnosing people with stomach migraines now. And we had this conversation in a coaching session: is what are you feeding your body? So what are you eating? And what are you ingesting to help facilitate that good energy? So if you're filling your belly full of crap, you're going to get probably a migraine headache, and everything is going to spin off of that. So my approach has everything to do with the mind, body, and soul. And how are you nourishing that? If you're compromising it, if you're betraying it, if you're being authentic with yourself and the universe, that's what we want to happen.
Awesome. Really wonderful. Now, I know you deal with, the families and the, of course, if the child is, just blind or impaired in some way. But what about their guardians and parents? Because this is probably new for them too, and everyone comes to the party with their own type of limitations and all that. Do you work with the parents and guardians too, to perhaps educate them more, or to lift them up, or to allow them to grow too? Because in a family, it's just not the child; it's everyone surrounding, and they could be a tremendous benefit or a major hindrance. So what do you do with those parents and guardians?
A lot of times with the parents, it's just, for me and them, it's about acknowledging and validating. So I'm hearing their frustration and concerns, and I'm validating it, and then we do some problem solving. We want to make sure that their relationship is strong, so we might do some relationship coaching. And then we also bring in the siblings, because the siblings, I don't want to necessarily say a victim, but a lot of them end up feeling like a victim, especially if you have a totally blind child that has other physical disabilities or intellectual disabilities. Sometimes the siblings get sidetracked and they're just kind of on the peripheral of the whole family scenario. So we try to bring them in and make it a whole cohesive family situation, so everybody's working together and everybody's heard.
Well, like I said, one, I just learn, more and more from you. But this is how I think also, because it's like I was very much into athletic and sports, when I was younger, and what my high school football team taught me is, I went to a private all boys school, so it was, a bunch of the spoiled rich kids except me. I went there to play football, so I wasn't
Of course.
I wasn't in the group, right? So, but as far as the football team goes, and what it was known for was one team. That was it, one team. And then, so we got to play with all the other the much richer schools and all that, and they had a larger uh, attendance, which means they had a lot more talent for sports and all that. But our football teams did very well, and also winning records and all that. And that one phrase, one team, is it, because you do your job, you to the best of your capabilities, and you sacrifice, do your job, and don't think about yourself. You think about the team. And so, but what I hear you saying is, that's what you're doing, because one, it's not only a good business concept, out there, in any industry for making money and all, but for the family, because unless you're working as a team, then and to that common goal, and you're always growing and expanding and improving, and unless you're working to that common goal, then it's unstable, and someone's gonna fall through the cracks, because once you start thinking about yourself exclusively, or selfishly, or things like that, progress stops, and now you're building up some anxiety, some animosity, some resentment, and that I think that happens sometimes too, like you were saying with with the other kids there, because and I like to use that word victim. I know you don't want to use that, but I think a lot of those other kids feel victimized because Johnny gets all the attention because he's messed up. He can't see. He can't stand. He's doing this, and I believe, and I've experienced this too with some of my daughter's friends, where in any family, that one kid that gets all the attention because he's got ADHD, or he's the one stealing from the neighbors, or he's pouring dirt on Jennifer's papers next door, just to get him attention and all that. So
Sure.
The other kids feel, wow, Peter gets all this attention, and he gets to go to counseling every Friday for his ADHD, and what about me? So I see a lot of resentment there, and so especially with these other kids too. Then what do you do, for them? Because I think they're suffering silently, but they're not getting the attention that I think they were expecting, because this one child, the blind kid, gets everything, and a lot of times they might feel forgotten or neglected. What happens to them?
When we do our family sessions, again, I make sure that they are heard. So they have a safe place to express those feelings, like I feel neglected, or, so and so gets all the attention, and how come you can't read me a special book at night, or can I do something fun, or all the money has to be spent on, Sammy because of all of his medical expenses. So I make sure that they're heard. And I think it's very powerful. Not only we teach, journaling. A lot of people in energy healing are doing a lot of journaling, but just voicing it out loud, I think, puts it out there in the universe. And then we try to turn it into a more powerful statement. Instead of feeling like you're not heard anymore, then we would come up with a saying like, I am heard and loved in this family always. And then we try to implement an action plan so that is carried out. And especially in these times of isolations where everybody are cooped up together, that is pretty vital. And we go back as a family and they create their family shield, at least in the sessions with me. We start with their core values. So, what are your core values individually? What are your core values as a family? What symbols do you want to put on your family shield to represent that? And then they hang that up like on the refrigerator or a bathroom mirror. So when they have an obstacle they're trying to overcome or scenario that they don't feel is quite right, then they go back to their shielded values. And if it's in line with their values, then they're good to go. If not, then they need to reassess it and make sure it's something that they want to do or want to react in that particular way.
That's awesome. Now, if you can recall back, through your career and all that, can you remember maybe the hardest, most difficult case that you can remember and what you did?
In coaching or just life in general?
Well, in coaching, in your coaching.
I'm working with a family now, two grandparents. They ended up getting sole custody of their grandson. The mother signed the rights away. The father died of a drug overdose. The grandparents really want to be grandparents and not parents, and they just don't have that option. So for me as a coach, sometimes it's really hard pointing out to them, saying, we've talked about this 12 times already and you're not implementing it. And this is why he's acting this way. Because they don't want to do the discipline or take things away when he doesn't want to read his braille. So for me, especially when I get that connected with a family, it's really hard pointing out this is more destructive for his long-term education and skill sets, but trying to do it in a nice way so they get it. And I think they get it. It's just a struggle for them, and it probably always will be. So I make sure to emphasize and make sure I tell them I understand that.
Well, I wanted to, hear that from you because you always got to, I think, acknowledge, people for where they are and, what they think and their own, personal lives and all that, because wouldn't it be great if we tell people what to do and they follow all of our advice and they go, oh, boy, yeah, I'm really good.
Wish my daughter would do that.
Yeah,
She does the exact opposite of what I say.
Oh, imagine that.
No, exactly. And then from there, you love them anyway, and then you have to figure out, okay, what else can I do? But I like that because when you acknowledge someone, you make them relevant, and you're not like kind of sweeping them under the door and do this
Right.
or else, or do this if you want success, kind of stuff like that. So no, I can understand where you're going, and because you're empathic, because we're our diversity makes us all alike, but we are diverse, and that's the complexity of being human, right? But now, to go back to answering, asking you again, in your life, your personal life, what was the single thing you can remember that was most difficult for you, and what did you do at the time?
Wow, that's pretty tough. I'm pretty stubborn. I usually like to try things by myself the first time, and sometimes that really doesn't work out. It makes my kids a little frustrated. I'm one of those blind people where I just start walking and I expect things magically to move out of my way, even though I've tripped on that same toy about 10 times. That's pretty frustrating. I think for me as a blind person, when I'm working in a sighted community and I'm editing something and I tell them, no, I want it to visually look this way, not that way, or I like this color combination better, I get a lot of resistance, and it's for me that's very frustrating.
That's really interesting.
Dr. Randall, one time you told me, you said, life as a blind person is stubbing your toes all the time. Or it was, I can't remember what you said. You were just saying, like, just about the things that you take for granted. It's like you stubbing your toes, just the little frustrations. I mean, gosh, you can't, from time to time, ever since knowing Dr. Randall, I'll try for a couple minutes, maybe, even though it's an improper simulation, because I can still see light, but I'll close my eyes and try to navigate my room, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, you do it a time and time again and in repetition, but just trying to do the simple task. It's incredible how you take it for granted, how your vision, until, like a situation like that. Of course, I can open my eyes anytime I want to see where I'm at, but the first thing that I started to notice was just like the disorientation, like, where am I? Like, where's everything? Just like a bunch of fears of bumping into things, like just, so I can't even imagine what it is like to be in that situation. So it's, I learned a lot from Dr. Randall.
They've done a lot of surveys, and the sense that people fear the most of losing is their sight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's, to be honest, I've been, ever since talking and meeting Dr. Randall, and he's become a good friend of mine, I've been fascinating in bionic eye technology. Mm-hmm. And they are making huge strides in it. And I've been keeping up with technical articles, including ones that are published here locally. I believe it was Baylor University was making huge leaps. And we're talking full blown mapping of the bionic eye, which would be kind of like a synthetic camera. Sometimes when I say eye, they're not at the point where they put an actual implant in that's a bionic eye,
right?
But where you would just, it's glasses that have a camera mounted on them, and then it's like literally wired back into the visual cortex directly. Mm-hmm. And now people are seeing patterns of light using this technology. So it's really, I think, honestly, and in my heart of hearts, I think it would be the most awesome thing in the world. Because I one time had and I don't mean to go on and on about this. I one time had a dream that Dr. Randall had bionic eyes, and he was pushing my daughter around, I think on a bike or something like that, able to see again. And so I, ever since I had that dream, I was like, I got to look into this stuff. And and I found out they're making huge technology. So I'm thinking, within 10 years, granted, people are willing to, sounds like a little bit of an intrusive surgery, going in and tapping into your visual cortex directly. But the opportunity that, and with the speed of technology, I am willing to bet personally that within 10, 15 years, they will have something where they can map an image directly into your brain.
So speaking of the visual cortex, I have two things. Going back to working with the families and the teachers of the visually impaired, or even just sighted people, having them understand what their body of pain is, mm-hmm. having them acknowledge that pain and work through the pain, and then get past that so that they're still an active participating community member. But a lot of the students I work with end up having a lot of pain or a lot of eye fatigue, and the teachers and the parents don't understand how draining it is. By the end of the day, when you lose one sense, you pick up on other senses, but you're putting more of your energy towards those other senses, so it makes you a bit more tired or irritable. Mm-hmm. So having people understand that, and then having that student or adult like myself be able to articulate the pain. So for example, even though I don't have any eyeballs, my visual cortex is still intact. Mm-hmm. So in my left visual field, my brain is still trying, or that visual cortex is still trying to send a signal to my optic nerve, which is not there, so it gets disrupted. So if you can imagine looking through a black and white kaleidoscope that's moving, as you turn it, the changes. That's what's in my visual field all day long.
Oh, that's interesting. And that's what you perceive.
Right. Yeah.
Very fascinating. And and since I am a computer engineer, I mean, I know, and I've written 3D software and I've dealt with computer graphics a lot. I think, all it is it will boil down to mapping the correct nerve. But I mean, being able to translate a digital image to the brain is not the realm of science fiction, at least not anymore. It's more and more increasingly very practical. And the brain is like, just basically, it's like a supercomputer, essentially. I mean, it fundamentally functions almost in the same ways, and And in terms of pattern matching and things, and you're like you were describing this vision as your brain, your visual cortex, and your brain's trying to decipher and make sense of these, this different firing of neurons and such. So, and thinking that it's still intact, still working. You're going to be, they'll be able to plug in one day and suddenly you're going to start seeing lights, shapes, shadows. And then all of a sudden as the technology increases, clarity, and eventually into a full blown image.
Yeah.
And in real time too. The only thing that I think that you'll obviously have downtime where you'd have to charge your batteries or whatever to the unit. But I mean, eventually you'll have, an interchangeable set of glasses or whatever until eventually they go to, and this is what I've been reading, until they actually go to actual implants. And then there's also a talk of having wireless technology where they've got the implant that goes into the eye and they've got a receiver on the back of the head. And it basically just sends a wireless signal. Now, we're talking about electromagnetic radiation, all that stuff. I'm not, I don't know if when it comes to that type of technology, I don't know if you'd want to, I'm sure a lot of people would be like, you know what, I'd rather see than really worry about, the effects of the electromagnetic radiation. So it's just where it's headed, and what I've been reading, it's really exciting. And as soon as I see a something, Dr. Randall, that signs you up, I'm going to beg you and hammer down the door to get you signed up to be like an early bird adapter of that technology or something. Granted, you're willing to do it. I think that would be really exciting.
Yeah.
No, all of that is in. I love this conversation. Teresa, thanks for bringing it up because. Because we're experts at being blind, right? People don't know about the physical and emotional fatigue that goes on there, and then, so some of it's painful, but a lot of it is this fatigue because it's we're trying to operate in a sighted world when we can't, and just kind of that's why I like chatting with you because you kind of understand. The stuff because in a given house or place you think, okay, I've walked this one hall 1,000 times, but why do I keep on once in a while stubbing my toe, or I'm going up and down these stairs and I never miss one, but darn it, here it is, right? And then the way you walk, the way you gait, your walking style before, say you lost your vision and all that, that's all changed because you just can't go power to the door and say, here I am, or it's like I'm late.
It doesn't work out.
Yeah, it's like I'm late and I'm just going to speed it up. And I go, and I've learned that. I said, okay, now you're really going to mess up and now you're really going to get pissed off because now you're going to knock over things. And, that's what my wife has done, in our home. She's removed all the nice little artsy type of and things because I knock them all over. Oh, that's been in our family for. I said, I'm sorry. Can we glue it back? No. Okay, fine. So everything's, she likes to decorate and all that. So now things are kind of bare, and when I'm fumbling around the walls, I go, oh, there's a picture here. Oh, good. I'm going to remember to avoid that because I'm going to knock that down too. But it's little stuff like that, and for I think for children, they're going to get tired. And they're going to get fatigued, and now, that's when the frustration sets in because it's like okay, and then with all the lessons there, unless they're into it, unless they're emotionally into it, they're going to push back, and the frustration becomes anxiety, becomes anger, and from there, here are these loving parents going, well, what do we do now?
Right.
The kid is tired, and we can't say, oh, it's going to be better tomorrow. It's not. You still can't see.
I have a. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I did have a quick question, and for both of you guys. Dreaming. When you dream, you have vision again, correct? Or
no. For me, it is. For me, all my dreams are when I can see. Is all sighted.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when I dream, it's probably not as clearly focused as Dr. Randall because I did not have 20/20 vision.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm into dreaming. I've done a lot of courses through the Shift Network and Robert Moss, the Dreaming Shaman. Yeah. And I get a lot out of dreams. And I try to incorporate dreaming in with my coaching clients. I I think it's a fascinating subject.
I've gotten like proficient at lucid dreaming, and just by the nature of periodically while I'm awake, I ask myself if I'm dreaming. So that habit carried on over into my dream world. So now it's like periodically in my dream, I'm like, am I dreaming? Like, oh boy, I'm dreaming. And then I take full control of the dream and just have so much fun. So I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there, but.
Well, dreaming is very valuable because it's expression. Okay, and then we all have to express, and it's like, animals dream too, but it's so fascinating for humans that, we dream, and even from, from Freud, everyone's got their idea of what dreams are, and things, but they're so valuable in one learning and growing and recovering. You see,
I think dreaming is your own personal coach. I mean, you can learn so much. You've already got your own built-in personal coach if you want to utilize it.
No, that's really wonderful, because it's true, because we all dream, and your dreams tell you a lot, and then we have certain rhythms in a given evening, with the dream state and all that, and the deeper the sleep, the better, and sometimes even in superficial just falling asleep kind of stuff, your mind ends up going where it wants to go, and to me these are all messages, and kind of up to us to decide where the message goes. But so I don't know if you all know this, is that eyeballs are extensions of your brain. Okay, because it all comes from the neural tube.
So that's like the first thing that starts growing, isn't it?
Yeah. And so they're just so relevant for survival for any species, right? So these are extensions of your brain that's on the outside. So they're just more than those things and those round orbs, but they're actually brain tissue that's outside of your brain, that's your CNS brain, and so for Teresa and I, we don't have those anymore. So what that is that we start to develop more of what's stuck in our skull, and like Teresa was mentioning earlier, that the enteric nervous system, which we call the second brain, is directly tied, to our brain and our skulls, just from all the chemical messages that are sent, and we have what Teresa does with Mind, Body, Spirit is so one is, I think that she's an expert at this, because you end up kind of appreciating and knowing, your body is a gift, because it certainly is. There's and we are all energy, like you were saying, and with that, we can, not only control that energy, we can make it grow. And when I, having met Patrick, is that, he talked about unconditional love. Well, love is the highest form of energy you can ever experience or know. And that's the God zone. That's the God energy. Okay, once you tap into that, life is damn good. And you get into all those laws of, say a law of attraction and stuff like that. It's a God law. Because that energy you have will draw to you, that type of frequency out there. So it could be negative, it could be positive, and yes, there are negative forces out there. And if you don't want those negative forces to overtake you, then you combat that with more positive energy.
Right.
So so you all know too, is the our heart discovered in 1991. What they found in there is these things called neurites. There are neurons in our heart, so our heart can think and feel. 40,000 of them in our hearts. So that's the third brain right there. So we're also interconnected. You think, well, heart? What are you talking about? The heart just beats and then pushes blood here and extracts oxygen and all that kind of stuff like that. And no, it's more than that. It allows us to think. It allows us to feel. So we're so interconnected, and what you do, Teresa, is that you combine all that kind of stuff, because your coaching program is so thorough, and then you as an empath, you're looking at not only the child but the parents and everyone surrounding it, and you're figuring out the relationships, because there's the person-to-person relationship, but there's also the relationship of the person to themselves, their relationship to the spirit or God, if they believe in that, and the relationships to the world, and the energy they bring. And of course I'm rambling now here, but the thing is that when there's disruptions in the energy field, that's when what I've been reading, where all the pathogenic viruses come from. When you look back in the 5 most devastating kind of virus outbreaks in our history, is that there's been some kind of disruption in the environment, and viruses react to that.
That's what the invisible rainbow is all about. The history of the electricity and life was about a lot of things like
No, you're mentioning stuff like that too. You see, so that's exactly so, and people don't understand that. And now we're afraid of this microbe that it's all proving to be all false, right? And everything's politicized. And then, how I tie Teresa into this is that what you do is so critical, to us as a species. Okay, and all based on love, and from there it's like, okay, and when you talk about dreams, what are your dreams? Okay, well, you're probably not going to wake up with vision tomorrow, so what are your dreams? What is your purpose? What is that? And you help people to define that, and you help them find themselves. I think once not only the child that's afflicted with either the vision loss or whatever things they can't do, they're going to find that, and they're also elevating and educating, the parents to find out who they are, because they go, we never expected this. This was impossible. This happens to other people. Oh, by the way, and then in how you lived your life too, because you go, and like I said, you dealt with things in that wonderful, open-minded, positive way. So, telling yourself, I can do this. I can do this, and I will stub my toe 20 times, but I can, well, because I still do. And I know this house, I know the stairs, and I go, okay, I can run up these stairs, or, why is this here, as I stub my toe or things like that. Well, you knew that was here, but, you want to walk a little faster. And so, just things like that. So, what you do, Teresa, is just so valuable, because you take your empathy and in compassion and all, Patrick, you kind of know this already, is related to chromosome 8, which has got other connotations to that too. But what you do with that is that that's how you lived your life, and you've turned it into a business. So you're actually, doing something that you love, and you get paid for it. And that's what I tell other folks there, especially in times like this, because you've got weird times, and all political, right, and right versus left, and blah 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 blah, stuff like that. And you've got people that are making more money not going to work than going to work. One, because they don't want to go back to work because they don't love it. They don't love what they do. And so you this is for you too, Patrick. You both love what you do, and you do it. You see, and from there, up to us to monetize how that goes. But unless you love what you do, you're going to get tired of it. And it's from there, just more than just the money, because you're exchanging hours for dollars, and you're going to get tired of it, and you're going to live an unfulfilled life. And so, for your program, Teresa, what I see with that is that you can influence a lot of folks out there that are struggling. And I'm not, and blind is just not the visual field, that people just are just blind, to life itself, blind to unconditional love, blind to love for themselves, blind for love for others, blind for community. You see, and once you get shut off and cut off like that, life is crappy. Now you go, I'm the victim. And God like you better because I'm blind, you're not, kind of stuff like that. And it becomes like that, and like not all, but what you represent, Teresa, is that a bright light, and you teach it, and I just think that's just so awesome, and one of the reasons I have Patrick in my life. I read through that very detailed article on the bankruptcy of America, which was so journalistically skilled, but it's like, but I come down to that one statement I went through. And
it was just more depressing information about the country we live in, literally.
But I got to meet this guy, right? And like with you, Teresa, I read your bio, I got to meet her. And then, of course, I write to a lot of folks and I call a lot of folks, but, most of them never return my calls and never email me back. I go, okay, fine, whatever, but you did. And Patrick did. So, I'm blessed that way. And I got these two wonderful shows, and I get to, have Patrick in my life, and I get to, meet you. You bring such great joy, great teaching, great inspiration, to people, but you give them, or you provide for them empowerment. You see, and so you allow them to be their greatest selves, their best selves. I think just that is such a a neat thing in what you do, and how you you live your life, and based on your experiences, and based on on both intention and choice, because you could have gone the other way. You could have been that negative person.
Well, it's like a game. It's a game of follow the leader. So what energy you're putting out there is what energy you're
getting back
in return.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't know that though, but somehow you did. You chose that, or that was your intuition. You followed that. And I'm saying that a lot of people would not do that, because I've met a lot of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of it in the blind community, where like mine is, I want to be more skilled at computer stuff and all the tech stuff, and I'm not, and I work at it, but I meet some that are so skilled with everything, but with piss poor personalities and just piss poor attitudes. And I go, wow, and of course they chastise me for, you should know this. I go, yeah, well, I should, but I don't.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that.
And by the way, do I call you up for assistance?
Of course, and then they charge you money for it. So.
Because I'm a lowlife, so I can't do that, So well, it's like that.
Dr. Red, we've kept our guest over here for an hour, and I was just I don't mean to. I don't ever want to come in and put a time limit on.
No, thank you, because otherwise, I'd be.
I try to give you, try to give you a heads up. So here's your heads up.
With Teresa, I can talk to her for hours and hours and hours, because one, I like you a lot, and I just have so much respect for you and what you're doing with your life, personally and also professionally, but. I think for all of you out there, Lumen Your Way is something to look up. Not only if you folks or children that have that are blind or have some kind of disability, but for all of you out there needing some direction where you're stuck, and that there's a reason why you're stuck, and I think Teresa can get you unstuck. So please look her up, and just maybe give her a call, see if it's the right match or not. But she not only has the right spirit for to be able to help you, but she has the education and she has the experience, and she's proven in her life to be a success, and she allows that in children and also families. So please look her up and give her a call, and see what she can do for you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Randall. You're an inspiration yourself. We need strong leaders like you.
Well, we all need to lead, and that's what we do. It's like we have this one time on Earth in this flesh costume, and I want to try to make the most of mine while I'm here, as you are doing yours. So, and we never expected this, but
no.
that's the beauty of life, right?
Right.
So, and Patrick knows this too, because of all you've gone through too, and especially your surgeries. Is that unless you're challenged, you don't know what you got. You just don't know the strength that what you have. You see, and then I would like we all have here, to make the best of it, to make the most of it, and what can we do for ourselves, and what can we do for our human brethren, and we live that every day. So, but anyway. Teresa, thank you so much for for being on, the show, and
Anytime.
and we're going to do our radio show here, in another couple of weeks. So we'll have
Yes.
you on again. And but like I said, thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing your life. And yeah, well, one day I want to say hello to Heath. So
Yeah. We'll make it up there to Washington to come see you.
But anyway, Heath, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Thanks, guys. It was very nice to
All right.
be a part of this conversation.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.